My parents gave my brother everything, but when he inherited the family business, he drove it into the ground. Growing up, my brother never lifted a finger. Our parents handed him everything on a silver platter. When they retired, they gave him the family business I helped build. And within months, he destroyed everything we worked for. From the time we were kids, it was clear who the favorite was. If my brother Ryan wanted something, he got it. If I wanted something, I was told to work for it. He grew up believing the world owed him, while I learned how to earn every step I took. When our parents retired, I thought they'd hand the business to me. After all, I'd been running it for years, keeping it profitable, keeping it alive. But in the retirement ceremony, they shocked everyone. They handed the keys to Ryan, the golden child. I told myself maybe he'd step up. Maybe the responsibility would change him. Instead, he treated the company like his personal playground. Lavish trips on the business account. Deals with friends who had no idea what they were doing. Ignoring clients who had trusted us for years. Within a year, the business that had been in our family for decades was hanging by a thread. From the moment Ryan took over, the office felt different. The disciplined atmosphere I'd built over years was replaced by chaos. He replaced experienced staff with his friends. People who had no clue how to handle clients or manage accounts. Deadlines were missed, contracts were broken, and suppliers stopped trusting us. Every time I tried to advise him, he'd laugh. "You work too hard," he'd say. Business is about connections, not spreadsheets. Connections meant extravagant parties, private dinners, and overseas trips, all paid for by company funds. Clients stopped renewing contracts. Invoices piled up unpaid. Our reputation started to sink. But Ryan didn't notice. Or maybe, he didn't care. The first real sign of disaster came when our biggest client, the one that kept nearly 40% of the business afloat, cut ties completely. They cited mismanagement and lack of professionalism. I knew exactly what that meant. Within months, the steady flow of income turned into a slow trickle. But instead of tightening expenses, Ryan doubled down. More parties, more spending, more bad deals. And then came the breaking point, the one decision that shattered everything. Ryan signed a massive deal with a flashy new partner. A man with a too-perfect smile, big promises, and zero credibility in the industry. It was a multi-million-dollar contract. Money the company didn't have. Ryan assured everyone it was a sure win. No research, no due diligence, just blind trust. I tried to stop him. I told him if this went wrong, there'd be no way to recover. But he brushed me off. "You're just jealous I'm doing better than you ever could." Within weeks, the partner disappeared, and so did the investment. The company accounts were empty. The creditors came knocking, and the employees started resigning in waves. One morning, I walked into the office and it felt like a ghost town. Desks cleared, phones silent. Even the sign out front looked tired, as if it knew the end had come. That was the day Ryan finally realized the truth. And that night, my phone rang. It was past midnight when my phone buzzed. Ryan's name lit up the screen. For a moment, I considered ignoring it. But something in me wanted to hear his voice, to know if the golden child could finally admit defeat. I answered. His voice was shaky, stripped of its usual arrogance. "I need your help," he said quietly. "The business, it's gone. The creditors, they're threatening legal action. I don't know what to do." I leaned back in my chair, letting his words hang in the air. All the warnings I'd given him, all the chances he'd thrown away, and now he wanted me to fix it. "Ryan," I said, my voice steady, "I told you this would happen. You didn't listen." "I know," he whispered. "But you're the only one who can save me." I thought about the years I spent cleaning up his messes, about the company my parents built and entrusted to him, about the employees who had trusted us. And for the first time, I realized, maybe saving him wasn't the answer this time. I sat there in silence, his voice trembling on the other end. It wasn't just a plea for help, it was desperation, the kind that comes when someone realizes they've run out of lives to waste. "Please," he said again, "if I lose everything, I'll have nothing left." I closed my eyes, and every memory came back. The smug grin when he pushed me out of meetings. The dismissive wave when I warned him about reckless deals. The moment he took the company keys from our father, looking right at me as if to say, "You'll never matter here." I opened my eyes, and my voice was calm. "You're right, Ryan. You will have nothing left. And maybe that's exactly what you need." He was silent. Then, a choked laugh. Part disbelief, part panic. "You can't be serious." "I am," I said. "For the first time in your life, you're going to face the consequences of your own choices. I'm done saving you." The line went quiet. Then, it went dead. The next morning, my phone rang again. This time, it was my mother. Her voice was sharp, urgent. "What happened with Ryan? He called us in tears. Why didn't you help him?" I sighed, bracing myself. "Because I'm not here to keep bailing him out, Mom. He destroyed the business on his own." There was a pause. Then my father's voice came on the line. Calm but heavy. "We trusted you both with the company. I never imagined you'd let it collapse." That stung. I clenched my jaw. "You trusted him with the company, not me. I warned you what would happen, and you chose to hand it to him anyway." Silence on the line. I could hear my mother sniff quietly, torn between defending Ryan and facing the truth. "Maybe," my father finally said, voice lower now, "maybe we made a mistake." But the weight in his tone told me, the mistake wasn't just in giving Ryan the business. It was in believing that spoiling him would ever make him a man. A week later, my parents called me over for dinner. The atmosphere at the table was tense, the air heavy with unspoken blame. My mother kept glancing toward the empty chair where Ryan usually sat. She finally broke the silence. "He's been staying at a motel. He says he doesn't have anywhere to go." I set my fork down. "He had a home, Mom. He had a company. He had every opportunity you gave him. And he threw them all away." My father shifted in his seat, his voice quieter than I'd ever heard it. "When we were raising you too, we thought loving him meant protecting him from hardship. We didn't realize we were protecting him from reality." My mother's eyes softened, but her voice was still defensive. "He's still our son. We can't just abandon him." I looked between them, feeling the familiar ache in my chest. "You're not abandoning him. You're letting him stand on his own for the first time in his life." They exchanged a look, the kind that held years of denial slowly cracking. For the first time, they didn't rush to defend him. For the first time, they didn't call me cruel for saying the truth. 2 weeks later, I got a text from Mom. "He's here." By the time I arrived at the house, Ryan was sitting at the kitchen table, looking nothing like the polished golden boy I'd grown up with. His hair was messy, his shirt wrinkled, and for once, his confidence was gone. Mom was pacing, her hands wringing together. Dad sat across from Ryan, his arms folded, a quiet storm brewing in his expression. "You've ruined everything we worked for," Dad said finally. Ryan shifted uncomfortably, eyes darting between them. I thought I could handle it." "You thought." Dad's voice was sharp now. "You gambled with the family's name, the employees' livelihoods, our trust. And when it all fell apart, you ran, again." Ryan's jaw tightened, his old arrogance flickering back. "I didn't ask you to." Mom cut him off, her voice breaking. "No, Ryan, you didn't ask. We gave. We gave everything, and you turned it into nothing." Ryan froze, because Mom's voice wasn't angry, it was tired. The kind of tired that comes when someone finally runs out of excuses for you. Ryan leaned back in his chair, as if waiting for the usual script. The lecture, the guilt, then the forgiveness that always came in the end. But this time, it didn't come. Dad's voice was steady, almost cold. "You can stay here for 1 week. After that, you find your own place. You'll get no money from us, no second chance at a business, no shortcuts. If you want to stand on your feet, you'll work for it like everyone else." Ryan stared at him, disbelief flickering in his eyes. "You're serious?" Mom nodded, her voice softer but unwavering. "We love you, Ryan. But loving you doesn't mean we keep cleaning up your messes. Not anymore." Ryan's mouth opened, ready to argue, but nothing came out. For the first time, he seemed to understand. There was no safety net this time. I watched the golden child realize the gold had run out. He glanced at me then, his expression hard to read. Anger, pride, shame, all tangled together. But he didn't say a word. And for the first time in years, the house felt quiet. After Ryan went upstairs, the house stayed quiet for a long time. Dad poured himself a drink. Mom sat down heavily, and I knew there was still one more wound to open. "The company," I said quietly. "What's going to happen to it?" Dad's eyes dropped to the table. "It's too damaged to save in its current form," he admitted. "The debts, the lost clients." He trailed off, his voice weighed down with years of work slipping away. Mom sighed, her fingers tapping the rim of her glass. "We spoke to the lawyers," she said softly. "The name will be sold. The assets liquidated to pay off what we can." I felt my chest tighten. Decades of my family's legacy, gone in months. But there was no anger left in me. Just a strange calm, like watching the end of a storm I had seen coming for years. Then Dad looked at me. "When it's over, if you want to start something of your own, we'll help. But it'll be yours this time. Yours, to build or to break." It wasn't the company I'd grown up with. But maybe it was a clean slate. The day the company sign came down, I stood on the sidewalk, watching the workers lower the letters one by one. It didn't feel like victory. It didn't even feel like loss anymore. It felt like release. For years, that building had been a symbol of my family's pride, and my brother's protection from consequences. Now, it was just another closed chapter. As I turned to leave, Dad's words echoed in my head, "Yours to build or to break." I realized I wasn't just walking away from the wreckage of a business. I was walking away from the shadow I'd lived under my whole life. Ryan had destroyed the empire he was handed. But in its ashes, I was free to build something of my own. And this time, there would be no golden child to take it away. Sometimes, loving someone means stepping back, even when it hurts. Because protecting them from the consequences of their own choices only makes the fall harder when it comes. A family name can't sustain a business. Skills, discipline, and integrity keep a legacy alive, not entitlement. Sometimes the fall is necessary. People who refuse to learn from warnings often need to experience failure to truly change. Protecting someone from themselves isn't love. Allowing them to face reality is. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories.